The Magical Tree, written by Dorothy M. Mitchell, narrated by Joe Ashe. Preface. First of all, dear reader, we would ask you please to keep the secret of what we're about to tell you. The story we're going to share with you is exciting, magical, and wonderful. Be assured that you will not have read our story in any book ever. When it all began, it was very scary. We could hardly believe our eyes. This couldn't possibly be happening, but it was. I'm Charlie Louisa Bevis, aged 10, and my sister is Cydney Alice Bevis, aged 7. I think my sister was more scared than me. Well, I suppose what I really mean is I'm the eldest, and I have to be brave even if I'm not. We had no idea about the magic that went on concerning Granddad's magnolia tree and the old garden well. It was to be the most amazingly wonderful, mind-blowing adventure anyone could be part of. Anyway, this is the unbelievable but true story of what my sister and I discovered beneath Granddad's old magnolia tree. Chapter 1. How the Adventure Began. It was early spring and the start of the school holidays. We were visiting Granny and Grandad. We always love to go and see them. They have a very old house, a lovely big garden which is really nice. They also have a large patio area that surrounds a big old well, which Grandad says goes down to Australia. I don't really believe him, though, as he often tells us funny things. There are lots of lovely flowers growing in pots and tubs in and around the well, and also around the area. There's also a dovecot in the part that Granny calls the secret garden. She says she's never seen a dove in there, but she tells us she has seen other birds sheltering from the rain and heavy thunderstorms. This makes Granny smile. She loves the birds that visit their garden. She feeds them regularly with scraps of food left over from the meal table. She also leaves bits of stale bread and cake. Grandad sometimes tells her off. "You're tempting vermin. And I have seen the dog having a crafty nibble or some tasty morsel. You're always complaining that Evie is getting much too fat," he says. But Granny doesn't take any notice. She gives Grandad a lovely smile and just carries on feeding the birds anyway. In the part called the secret garden, there is an enormous tree. I've always felt that it is very special somehow. I asked my Grandad the name of the tree. He replied, with a strange look in his eyes, "It's called a magnolia. My dad planted it over 50 years ago, and he said to me at the time as he covered the roots with soil, 'There you are, lad. That is something for you to remember me by when I'm dead and gone.'" After Grandad told us this tale, I wondered to myself what Grandad's father would think of the tree now. I'm pretty sure he would be surprised at its size. It has 2 enormous roots coming from the ground, which looked as though they should really have been one root, but this was how the trunk had grown. Over the last 50 years they'd twisted and twirled together, and so had formed one mighty tree, which almost seemed to reach the sky. The twisted roots, trunk and branches form a lovely shape, and now on this warm spring day, pink and purple blossom fill the branches, which are now also covered in a thick coat of new green leaves. We know that Granny and Grandad love the beautiful old tree. "The only trouble is," said Grandad, "it takes ages to get rid of last year's fallen leaves. They usually stay in heaps under and around the roots of the tree." He gave a big sigh. "When I was younger and my back wasn't giving so much trouble, I was able to clear the leaves every year, no trouble. But now that the pain is getting worse, I find the garden more of a hard task rather than a joy. I do my best, but I'm afraid to admit it's a poor best these days." I smiled at Grandad. I knew he was over 80 years old now, and that was really old. He wasn't able to do the work of a young man. Not only does he suffer...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?